Right. So this is what generally in Informatica for data integration part, because as far as the data migrations are concerned, when we are working on data migration projects, especially now and then you see many of the projects, everything were data migration based projects. So migrating the data from old legacy systems to the new application is what something are we doing nowadays. In this regard, there are different ETL tools which normally we will be using, as you guys know that well. Because if you want to extract the data first, because when there is any data migration process usually takes place, there is some migration process which normally we have to follow, right? So migration, when we want to migrate the process, first of all, we need to create a staging database. So once we have created a staging database, we need to extract the data from the external servers, like from the old legacy systems, etc. So we need to clean the data, transform the data. We need to load the data. This is how generally we need to do, right? So extracting the data, transforming the data, loading the data, something which normally when we are working on the data migration, especially we have to be performed. Means to build a new, configure the new application, etc. In this regard, so one of the tool called Informatica we are using, you know that. So when we are using Informatica, especially for the data integration part, I am taking an option here because data integration is something which normally we do as far as data migrations are concerned. So when it comes to the data migration, it's always important for us to understand, to set the general properties. What are the required general properties that are needed for us to inform, right? So that we have to be created here. So here we need to provide the data task, okay? So task we have to provide here, right? So for example, name for the general property for feature, okay? Just I'm giving you I'm just giving you a name called feature over here. Next, we need to select the location, whichever the default location which was already selected by us, that location will be taken as default. From where we are doing this data integration, the location will be selected based on that itself. Next, here we need to write down the feature. What are the required description for the particular feature we have taken? Feature is to enable a particular process to perform. Okay, this is something as part of the business application. Okay, as part of the application. This is the description which has written over here. So next, runtime environment, right? So which runtime environment? So normally it's a Informatica Cloud Host Agent. This is a runtime environment which normally we will be taking. Okay, so what are the runtime environment do we have, right? So that runtime environment, something we need to take. So these are the general properties. Whatever the properties I am talking about, these are the general properties which has to be given as far as the data transfer is concerned. Next, we need to understand the source. This is where generally this point of source comes into picture, right? So how this source can be of, right? For example, there is a source where we need to connect, okay? We need to connect the multiple sources and all, wherein we need to create new one connections, etc. So for example, existing